first claim that I will be discussing is money can't buy happiness. A psychological term that can be related to this is hedonic adaptation, which refers to people having a tendency to return to a stable level of happiness after positive or negative events occur. This relates to the claim money can't buy happiness because once a positive event occurs, such as financial gain, people will return to a stable level of happiness after that. Another term is social comparison, which is when people will base their value by comparing themselves to others. In this situation, it means that many people will determine their worth based on their wealth in comparison to other people's wealth. For example, a lower class family can compare themselves to an upper class family's wealth and often envy their wealth, leading them to think poorly of themselves. In a study done by Robert Kenny, he conducted a research on wealthy families about how they think money influences them and their families. Some families agreed that money does have a positive impact on them for doing things such as enrolling their kids in a good school, being able to go on vacation, and more. But others also agreed that money can have a negative impact as well, such as their kids believing they do not have to work and just relying on the money that they already have been provided. Also, possibly getting bullied by other rich kids and not having the motivation to do anything, such as work. Another research done by Joshua Hook claims that money does not buy happiness, but instead, having more money can also increase stress. This is because people will be stressed from the amount of money they have and will not know what to do with it. Also, it can get in the way and become a distraction to more important things in life, such as relationships with people. Money can possibly also become an obsession to some, which is not a good thing and not all life is about. In conclusion, the claim money can't buy happiness is plausible because although money could increase happiness by reducing stress about financial issues, it does not bring happiness to everyone and can instead do the opposite. The second myth/claim I will be discussing is that a full moon affects people's behaviors. A psychological term that can be related to this is the lunar effect. The lunar effect is different stages of the moon and how it can affect human behavior. It can relate psychologically because some people believe that the full moon does have a connection to behavior despite research proving it wrong. This can also affect the term illusory correlation, which is when someone believes that there is a connection between two variables that are not related. In this case, it is people believing that the moon connects to behavior, which is not true. For a very long time, people have believed that a full moon can affect the behavior of people, but researchers have proven this claim to be false. For example, in a study conducted in 2020, researchers concluded that male athletes did not perform differently during different lunar phases. In another study, researchers saw if homicide rates increased during a full moon, and they did not. Instead, they decreased. And in another study, admissions at a trauma center during a full moon concluded that there was no significant difference. This shows that researchers have done many studies to prove that this is just a myth and there is no difference in behavior during a full moon. Many people also claim that the full moon has affected their mental health. This was proved wrong by researchers in a study that showed how 17,966 people who needed care for their mental health had no connections to the full moon being the thing that is affecting their mental health. The only impact that the full moon has had on people is the brightness of it, but this does not correlate to changes of behaviors in people. The only thing it could affect is people's energy levels during the daytime due to the moonlight keeping them from sleeping at night. In conclusion, The myth/claim that the full moon can affect the behavior of people is a bust, meaning false, due to research confirming that the full moon has no connection to changes in behavior.